Hi, I'm Vince Molinari, co-founder and CEO of Gate Technologies and chairman of Gate Impact. First of all, Darren, David, thank you so much as always for making us part of your events. They've been absolutely extraordinary and so helpful in moving the entire space, the education and awareness. My deep apologies for not being able to be there in person today. But again, thank you so much for affording me the opportunity to do a little video here for everybody. To everybody in attendance, again, thank you. I appreciate everybody coming out, and thank you for spending a few minutes listening to me talk about Gate and the opportunities that exist in the space, from private company trading to crowdfunding to what we're doing on the Gate Impact Initiative. Just to jump back a little bit, Gate was founded back in 2009 on a specific mission to bring transparency, efficiency, and liquidity to the alternative marketplace. We define that largely in our initial launches as private company share trading, restricted stock, limited partnerships, as well as warrants. We felt, as we look at the overall market evolution of assets, that any time that you could bring electronics, technology to inefficient markets, it creates efficiencies, and by virtue of creating those efficiencies, a lot of times you're seeing margin compression. And frankly, the dislocation of established marketplaces in the way they have traded. If you look back in time, going back to the specialists on the New York Stock Exchange, many participants said that would never go away. Well, we saw what happened with the displacement of the specialist and the evolution to electronic trading, where it's over 80% of that marketplace. As that occurred, the margins, or the alpha, were removed from those markets, and they became largely trading markets versus, in our minds, investable marketplaces. We then just start to see that phenomenon go across the market evolution to the retail sector. People would say the individual investor was not smart enough to operate trading on a PC, or the PC couldn't be secure enough. And we certainly saw what happened with Charles Schwab, E-Trade, etc. That evolution of electronics across the marketplaces occurred in fixed income and then foreign exchange. Our view at Gate is really new market infrastructure creates new investment practices. And what is that largely about? Capturing alpha in new ways and moving to new investment practices to move capital across the spectrum. We've looked at the marketplaces largely and identified the broken IPO system, and we can talk ad nauseum about 500 IPOs a year going down to 120. And when we were talking about this for the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of the reaction was, well, poor Wall Street isn't making money on the IPO fees anymore. We largely lost touch with the fact that it was the capital formation, the empowerment of that company, whether it was the private company or that newly minted IPO, that had new capital to hire, create jobs, and add to the economic expansion. And as the traditional engine of growth in our country has been from the private sector, we lost that opportunity. For us at Gate, and really enjoy David Wield, and we've used a lot of his data and information over the years, but to us, whether it was Reg NMS, Sarbanes-Oxley, decimalization, order handling rules, didn't really matter to us. The fact is the system was broken. For us, it was much more efficient to create new market infrastructure to try to be the solution set. So when we look at that paradigm, look at what's occurred with Facebook. What largely occurred is that we saw private market, or public market rather, valuation expansion in a private company, going from a couple of billion to pick your choice today, $80, $100 billion, never saw before. So our belief system was that if we could come in and create a new market infrastructure that was truly neutral, the transparent agent in the middle, the utility, if you would, that brought together buyers and sellers, whether they were the broker-dealer, the buy side, the sell side, the hedge fund, to communicate in one venue, you really started to have true market price discovery with the participants. We felt that if this was going to be taken seriously, we had to move to a proactive approach with both the regulators and Capitol Hill, and one of the reasons that we've been fairly active in the past year and a half on issues relating to the 500 shareholder rule, the solicitation ban, crowdfunding, etc., which we've been thrilled to be part of the process of even if it's just a grain in a large beach of a granule of sand, in helping the Jobs Act come to fruition. So we're incredibly excited by the fact that we are now in a new era, a bit of the democratization of financial services, where we've seen the biggest regulatory changes in the past 70 to 80 years as it relates to implementation and movement of capital across the entrepreneurs in the small company. I think when you further look at the opportunities that GATE is pursuing is really to become that new market infrastructure across the spectrum. We've developed our own taxonomy, the first fixed engine for connectivity for restricted stock, the beginnings of an online end-to-end solution for settlement process, and really removing the counterparty risk from the system. And we did that early on by embracing regulation, as we believe any marketplace that is going to grow and foster and become a true investable asset class or investment practice, you do need regulation. We started off early on in the U.S. as GATE US, as a full broker-dealer. We took the next step to become an alternative trading system. We were the first, aside from NASDAQ itself, to be an ATS for 144A securities. And then going into, and I think it was December 2011, we became a qualified matching service pursuant to a private letter ruling with the Department of Treasury. So as these asset classes do become more visible, the melding, if you would, of the settlement process, having what we would call QSIPs or QSIP equivalents for GATE ID numbers to fully audit and have alternative assets archived to be tracked for regulation, to begin the dematerialization process of those alternatives, to have them be a true validated asset. So we're rapidly moving down the path to try to become the utility or that independent agent for the alternative asset classes. Very fortunate, along with David and Dara, Jason Best and Sherwood Nice, and a couple of early thinkers to bring together a thought process on crowdfunding that tried to bring the industry together, both from the historical lending-based crowdfunding platforms, donation-based, and reward-based, to form what's now become the Crowdfunding Professional Association. And really, I appeal to everybody who's there, who's involved, to become active in the space to help to move these new investment practices forward. Very fortunate to be elected co-chair of CIFRA, the Crowdfunding Intermediary Regulatory Advocate, which is largely in charge with education, going out to the marketplace and letting them know today we just can't crowdfund an equity just yet. Although we're very hopeful that within the rulemaking process, and I guess we're somewhere 240 odd days into the process, that with open dialogue with the SEC, FINRA's potential SRO, or the NFA, that that dialogue can help educate and foster the best rules possible for the portals, and really building a regulatory compliant environment where entrepreneurs and small companies can come together and access early stage capital. And we've taken it to the next level. One area that we're most proud of at GATE is our wholly owned subsidiary, GATE Impact. We've really taken the same investment practice strategy, utilizing technology, and creating a new paradigm shift, realizing that certainly on a global basis there's not enough capital, whether philanthropic, donation-based, to cure the cause-related issues that need our help. So we've taken the belief system that utilizing technology to match opportunity that needs help with capital that are willing to deploy in our subsidiary GATE Impact. And really it's the first of its kind, we believe, to take investment practices that enable and bundle socially responsible, environmental green investing, and wrapping it with a real rate of return that becomes sustainable. The beauty of that is some of the earlier envisionment was that you'd have to sacrifice some of your rate of return in order to deliver a social good or an environmental good. We believe by now being able to quantify and measure the level of social good or environmental good that you're obtaining alongside the rate of return is incredibly powerful, and who wouldn't want to make an investment that has a positive impact? So I think when we start to look at that and look at where we are with crowdfunding and the ability to meld those investment practices and to go out to the crowd and using some of our new regulation, it really adds to a new piece of this investment continuum and putting impact not necessarily as a separate category, because impact almost becomes any investment that's delivering a positive impact, whether it's private company, cause-related, donation-based, but bringing it into the continuum alongside and blending it with crowdfunding. Again, when we look at these investment practices and bringing the awareness and education being paramount, and one of the things that we call at Gate Impact actionable knowledge, the more information, the more knowledge a participant on the system has, the better educated they are. The more that speaks to investor protections and understanding what you're buying, having data. So again, information and data being a core component of our new ecosystem. So again, welcome everybody to get involved in the Impact Initiative and really help advance this new investment practice for good. We at Gate believe that to be part of the continuum of the investment, as we kind of joke, and I'll point to the Buttonwood Agreement and the exchange model, we're very early in the cycle here. Maybe crowdfunding isn't even the Buttonwood tree yet. Maybe it's the seedling of the Buttonwood tree that's emerging. So we need to nurture that, educate, and have the participants in the space really embrace the fact that we need some care here. So as it evolves, in the earliest stages of crowdfunding, we believe is the early cycle on the continuum. And as some of those companies grow and prosper, they can be secondary trading products in private company. And as private company grows up a bit, that can be the on-ramp to the IPO, to the true exchange model in a reinvented manner. So we are all about moving capital, empowering the entrepreneur, the small company, and giving access to new ways of thinking. And again, if you just view it somewhat simply as new market infrastructure, bringing visibility through new investment practices to that capital formation flow and alpha creation, very exciting time in the marketplace. I wish I were there to see if there were some questions that I can address. Certainly we'll post Gates' email, my personal email, our website, and really look forward to the next event. And again, Dara and David, thank you so much for organizing and being a big part of moving these marketplaces forward. Have a great night.